Operatori i Bankës së Shqipërisë, kam gjithnjë kënaqësinë të hap punimet e konferencës sonë të përvitshme. Megjithatë, këtë vit kënaqësia është e dyfisht, për arsye se kjo konferencë organizohet në bashkëpunim me London School of Economics, një nga institucionet akademike më prestigjioze në fushën e kërkimit për shkencat ekonomike dhe politike sot në botë. Shpreha e interesit dhe investimi profesional i një institucioni të tillë është dëshmi e maturisë që ka arritur cikli i konferencave tona.
Our mission is to address global challenges, but we're using locally rooted solutions. And locally rooted solutions you only get through partnerships with institutions locally. And over the last year, I've been involved in an international G20 exercise where we tried to address the global challenges. And the fundamental building block is ownership of the local government. And that is what I see here also in the central bank. We have been having this partnership now in developing this conference, and we look forward to many future collaborations as well. And the Governor Seiko has been, I think, a model of how to conduct monetary policy, and been an absolute delight to work with his team.
Well, the main financial shock that can happen in the case of small open economies is the sudden inflows and outflows of capital. Well, what can be done? Well, you can either join a big currency, like being in the European Union, you can join the Eurozone, or you can go the Polish way, which is pursuing consistently free float or flexible exchange rate regime, adding a strong macro-prudential policy. This all produced a situation in which we could preserve our own independent monetary policy and still hedge the country from unwanted movements, both inwards and outwards, of foreign capital.
As our research and presentation highlighted here, one key driver could be the currency denomination of the cross-border banking loan in question. And while most of the world has US dollar exposures in cross-border bank lending, the monetary policy of the ECB is crucial for monetary spillovers in emerging Europe, including Central and Eastern Europe. So this is a key difference from main academic works which tended to focus on the US dollar. So that's the new takeaway for policymakers in the region.
We expect from European Central Bank to normalize its monetary policy or to abandon the unconventional monetary policy and to raise the interest rates in order to create the space for monetary policy reaction, because we never know when the next crisis is going to happen, and in that case it is very important to have enough maneuver space for monetary policy reaction. The second thing we would like to stress is that within the European Union or Eurozone, the institutions have to be furtherly strengthened, and even some of the new institutions should be built because within this financial architecture of the Eurozone there are some institutions missing. And since we were talking also about fintech, I would say that our countries as well as all the other European countries should strengthen the cooperation in the area of digitalization and fintech.
Central Bank of Albania is very much aware of these issues and is looking carefully at financial innovation. For example, last year they issued an advisory to warn investors to be very careful about investing in some new financial instruments like Bitcoin. And going forward, I'm sure that the authorities will continue to closely watch and, as necessary, regulate this development of financial innovation. One area that I would highlight is the importance of educating people, making sure that people know what the innovations, what the instruments are, and what the risks and opportunities are, so they don't make mistakes. As I said, I have full confidence that the Albanian authorities, which are very capable, will continue to support the introduction of new products, to regulate them, and to make sure that they can be used as safely as possible.
The Bank of Albania was quite successful in handling the crisis, especially compared to many other central banks in its situation. It is time now to consolidate some of those lessons on how to do it, and especially moving forward to understand how to best keep the financial sector thriving and growing while at the same time stable. Albania still has a financial system that has much room to grow. To do so in a sustained and safe way will be a challenge, but I think and hope the Central Bank of Albania will be up for the task.
What we see in the global financial system right now are very strong pressures coming from the change in monetary policy in the United States that's putting pressure on a lot of emerging and developing economies, particularly those that have opened up to foreign capital. So we need now to sit down and think through how do we face these challenges, how can we make our economies, both in the advanced economies and emerging economies, more resilient against these pressures that are now building up.
And I think it was a very topical conference, and it covered most of the challenges that small open economies face in the kind of the globalist world at this point. And it was also, on top of that, it was lively and very interactive, good discussion. So Yeah, I have been to many conferences, but this one will be high up.
The great challenge is to look back at the last 10 years of crisis and understand that, on the one hand, one wants to go back to how things were before the crisis, but at the same time, one has learned much from this crisis and should therefore take the lessons from it. So the main challenge is to define a new normal that unwinds some of the measures taken in the crisis, but at the same time keeps others which have proven to be useful.
It was a very successful event. Today, for the full day, we discussed about the challenges that central banks are facing. There are so many challenges that we are facing in our daily job, starting with problematics in relation with the implementation of the monetary policy and complications which comes from financial stability. And of course, as all the central banks, we do plan to go in normalization of monetary policy in a very close future. We have been facing very successfully the financial stability. Many topics with regards to financial stability as decreasing NPL, strengthening the financial institutions were discussed. In this context, we also gained and benefited very fruitful thoughts from our colleagues, and we do our plans how to improve the financial stability of the country. We are also in discussion, we are improving our regulatory framework in order to open the way for the new technological innovation, but on the other side to protect from certain risks that we are facing nowadays. So at the end, I would say that we had a very successful conference, and I would like to thank you all the colleagues that participated in the conference for all the opinions, comments and thoughts shared with us. Looking forward for the next conference. Thank you.